Okay, YouTube land and beyond. Welcome to one of our DDM daily calls. Well, it's actually like 2 hours past our daily call end time. I'm wearing a beanie because I'm cold. I'll take it off for formality's sake. And we have Bambi, Ty, and Jerald on this call as they are our senior account management team. And I have to say, I'll just intro this, and I'd love for everybody to chime in if they feel comfortable. But I just got to say, I was frustrated this morning, and I still think I'm frustrated because I keep getting the same messages, phone calls from our dealer clients saying that my Google ads don't show up. I can't see myself. Why can't I see myself? I try to look at it on mobile. It doesn't work. I try and look at it on desktop. I kind of see us, but not really. So we've talked a lot about this. We talked a lot about this. We use search impression share to help us. We're really talking about VLAs. We've talked about GS location changer, where we, either use a VPN or we change our location. We try and do visibility checks, and it's just like a frustrating process, not only for us but the clients too. And I think one of the reasons it's frustrating is because there's not an easy fix. Every situation is different. Like hearing from Jerald, his accounts have a different solution or no solution compared to Ty, compared to Bambi. So we were just spitballing and came up with a little bit of a standard operating procedure. And we'll talk through each point. This is your SOPs right here. Everybody can see the screen, right? I hope so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And I guess we'll just go one by one and then just kind of spitball and talk to it. Anyways, so I'm going to keep reading. If your VLA campaign is performing well in visibility checks, no need to change. Keep all the same stuff. So, like, this happens. Sometimes, for no real reason, you could have all the wrong conversion settings set up and your VLAs show fine. Is this happening to on a large basis for any one of you three? Or even on a small basis from the campaigns you handle right now? Is this happening often?
Yeah, this happens. Oftentimes, especially when starting off with a new account, it may have different conversions than the one we have been running for a long time already. We have polished conversions, but for new accounts, we try to get as much as conversions possible, especially if we did not migrate to that account and we created it a new account for that client. So yeah, sometimes it worked really well, and sometimes there will be instances where it goes to display even with the same conversions assigned, account side by side. Yeah.
And that's what's like the no rhyme or reason. You could have, and we're focusing, we're focusing on conversions because VLAs are performance max campaigns, and performance max campaigns live off of conversions. They're trying to get what you define as the action or objective that you want as the business or advertiser. So in order to steer the VLAs the way you want, the conversion we find is the best, most consistent mechanism to do, right?
Yeah.
Any other comments from Ty or Bambi before we move on?
Nope, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm also good.
Okay. Next point we have VLA network threshold, 20% display is max, 80% search is min. So what this means is there's a channel distribution report now with performance max campaigns that tells us where the campaigns are serving. Are they serving on the search network? Are they serving on display? With VLAs, I think I might have to pause the video to get an actual example, but with VLAs, because it's they're really just product ads, they're technically PLAs or product listing ads. You want them to show on both of these networks, but under the subcategory that says ads that use product data, which essentially means the feed, which essentially means it's just your VLAs. There's no other creative, there's no little banner, there's no other search ad. It's just that. Now, there are specific instances, though, where this doesn't work, and Bambi had one of them. She mentioned, I hope that noise, is that noise coming across really bad? Is
Not
there
really.
noise? No? All right.
No.
Yeah.
You could tell this was like really live. I'm not going to edit this thing at all. We're just throwing this up here. This is how we roll, right? So Bambi has an account where her visibility is really good on search. And when I say visibility checks, I'm talking about on search in shopping network. That's where VLAs show. This is a more advanced video. We're not going to go back to the basics and show all the different stuff. If you don't know what that is, check out some of the other videos, leave a comment. But Bambi has an account that breaks this rule already. What are the percentages across the board in general, Bambi, for that account on these two networks? You're on mute.
Sorry. For the two networks, I have 31% for display and 68 for Google search.
Cool. So she's kind of almost like a 30-70, which is not really our best practice. But again, if we go back to the first criteria, her ads show really well on shopping consistently across the board in all her areas. So even though this didn't follow the standard, she doesn't have to change anything. And we're all in agreement of that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Boom. Ty, you should have a gavel. Just boom. We agree. So now if VLAs, and VLAs aren't even called VLAs anymore, they're called VAs, but oh well, Google wants to change its acronyms all the time. If VLA campaigns, it'd help if I had grammatical correctness. If a VLA campaign is not performing well for visibility, ... the next thing to do is to view channel distribution report and channel performance report, and then segment by conversions. Yes.
Yes, sir, David. Before we go in deep into that, some people may ask, what do you mean by visibility check? Because we've seen some instances. Of course, if your VLAs doesn't really have a good visibility, it may not show good visibility all throughout the day. But we've seen instances where it's just the budget, where you could show up really well in the morning, not in the afternoon. So it might be a good point to touch on.
Yeah, okay. That is a great point to touch. So really, what's the first thing we need to check then? It's not view channel distribution. It's check search impression share. And then also check outranking share. These will help determine if it's a budget issue and maybe even average CPC. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
See, this is why we need
Yes.
to do this stuff together, guys, because I miss stuff. Cool. Anything else I need to do to move on into the channel distribution then?
No, good.
So then next we got a view channel distribution report and channel performance report, and then segment by conversions. Adjust if need be. So I think we should probably get an example ready for these fine and dandy folks to show them what we're on about. Okay, so we're going to show you again, just to refresh, what channel performance looks like. Notice we have some things blurred. It's to protect our fun clients. And it really is, you got to, the screen is going to get in the way, so I'm going to move us. So when you're in Google Ads, you want to come to the actual VLA campaign that you're in. You're going to come under Insights and Reports, and you're going to look at Channel Performance. And Channel Performance is going to give you this big old flow graph. So when we look at this chart, it's a flow chart, essentially, of what network spent the money. So we could see in this example, almost 100%, or pretty close to, we'll call it 98%. Call it for what it is. 98% on Google search, almost 2% on display, But when we hover over, it shows network ads using product data. That means it's from your feed. Same thing here. Google search ads using product data. So that's a good thing. So what you also have to check, though, is you also want to go down to the channel distribution report, because that's going to tell you, just in a table, where your results are heading. So you can see Google search. We're segmenting by conversion. So this is actually a conversion action. We can see that the Google search campaign attributed for this 0.2 of a conversion, but it's actually showing up on search, which we like. And this is at least working the way we want for visibility. Any comments or questions to the team that I didn't cover?
No, I think that was explained.
Yeah,
Good.
it was covered. Mhm.
All
Cool.
clear.
All clear? All right, then we're going to go back to our meeting notes with our document. All right, so we took a look at this. We first looked at primary conversions, determined if to change conversions, rebuild the campaign. Ty, you do a nice job of explaining this. Can you explain the difference between primary and secondary conversions and what that means for VLAs?
Yeah, so the primary conversions is on the words of primary are like the primary that Google Ads is once or we want to get. So that's actually the hard conversions like form submits, special offer, any conversions that you see is a hard conversion actually. So and the secondary conversion, most likely it's like an observation of conversion in our campaigns. So it's like the button clicks that we want to track. So something like CTA interactions as an example of the secondary conversion that we wanted to have. So yeah.
Thank you, sir. So essentially, primary conversions is what you want Google to focus on getting more of, and that's what they're bidding for. That's what Google's magic data and AI and machine learning capability actually looks to find more of. And then you have secondary, which is just stuff that you want, but you don't necessarily want Google to spend money on. Usually that would be like a VDP, a page view. It's great. We get page views, but we don't need Google to just focus on page views. We need Google to focus on forms submitted or chats started or phone calls made. So, and then we also, whenever you have to change conversion, we find it helpful to rebuild the VLA campaign. Again, best practice, but usually helps when it gets into visibility.
I would agree.
Cool.
Yeah.
And we have 6 minutes before the next call. So let's see what we can get done in this. So, okay, we're done. No, just kidding. So best practice is to assign conversion value for conversions. And we probably need a whole other video just on this topic alone. But Jerald, you've been doing most of the testing here. Can you just give a quick synopsis of what this means in layman's terms?
Yeah. So basically, you're putting in a value to your conversions. Ty and David walk you guys through on the difference between primary and secondary conversions. Primary means you're selecting those hard or complete conversions as your only conversions in the account. Now, if you go to conversion value, we can now open our campaigns to having other conversions like the button clicks. And the main reason we can do that now, we can do that is because we are assigning a value. We're telling Google which conversions to prioritize and which conversion to go after. Because again, this is PMAX, and PMAX works best, and it has a lot of events and conversions to learn from.
100%. While you were talking about that, I just wanted to note an example. So what Jerald is saying is that any form submission, we can assign a monetary value. And the reason that we would do that, it's not necessarily that a dealer that I know of knows how much a form submit is worth. I don't
Mhm.
know any dealer that really knows how much one form submit is worth to their business, because
Right.
how many form submits do we need to have to sell a car? We don't know that. Typically, we can create data on it, but it's arbitrary. So we just need to give. It's a way to give Google a organized order of importance. So, for example, we would assign maybe $1,000 for a form submit, and maybe $500 for a chat submit, and then if it's a VDP as another conversion, I'll say example conversions and conversion values. Maybe a VDP is $10.
Yeah.
And again, those are examples. If you want to see what our actual conversion values are based on our data, leave a comment. Let us know. We could probably create more content about that, but this is just an arbitrary example on what it's worth. So when we tell Google, hey, Google's going to try to get us the most amount of conversion value or money. So with this, Google's going to try and get you the most amount of form submits because it's worth the most to the business. That's what it really is about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, examples. And then for the last 2 minutes, VLA negative keywords. So negative keywords, again, can be its own topic. We probably should, but a master negative keyword list for PMAX campaigns we find to be good. You don't want your new Ram 1500 VLA showing up for air conditioning, or the animal ram. Like there's a lot of different guardrails you got to put.
Yeah.
The only caveats to that we've experimented and found is that don't put your competitors in your negative keywords. You could show up for your competition. Why not? Because people looking up your competition, they'll probably want to cross shop and look at you too. I mean, we're still testing these other two, but I think it's general best practice. Don't have your name in as a negative keyword, and don't have dealer as a negative. Anything you guys want to add here?
Yeah. I was just trying don't add your name in the dealer, because most of the competitors we've seen shows up for the VLA for their competitors. So meaning you might be missing out when someone searches for your name and they see all competitors' vehicles and not yours. You might be missing out. So
Correct. Yep. I think that's pretty good. So this is our master operating
Yeah.
system as of today for VLAs. Please stay tuned for more updates, right? So anything else, guys, before we adjourn?
I'm good.
I think I'm good. Yeah.
Me too. All right. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. See you next time.